Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and welcome to another epic battle in Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD. This battle is actually the first battle in a three-part series that I will be uploading to the channel in the next couple of days. I will be leaving details in the description down below explaining exactly what is going on, but let me give you a quick rundown. The Ayyubid Sultanate has long coveted the great city of Antioch, and a holy jihad has been called to claim the city from the Crusaders. The three-part series will lead up to that siege at Antioch, but there are a few key events that will influence this siege, starting with today's battle. In today's battle, we have Antioch recalling all friendly forces to the great city. A large army from Antioch that had been campaigning in Anatolia is headed south, along with allied forces from the Kingdom of Cilicia. Unfortunately for them, the Ayyubid scouts discovered the Crusaders marching south and prepared an ambush. The first attacking army on the battlefield today is, of course, the Ayyubid Sultanate, commanded by myself, and this Ayyubid army is commanded by a Mamluk captain, and the Mamluk captain's force consists entirely of cavalry, so let's go ahead and take a look at what I have brought to the battlefield. My main meat of my force here is consisting of 8 units of Ayyubid Askari nobles, and 8 units of Tawashi cavalry. And you can see way over here I have my Mamluk bodyguard. You can see he is there, and he's not far enough away that he can't command the battle, but he is far enough away that he will not be focused down by any of the Crusader crossbowmen. But way over here as well, I've also brought some units of the Jarida cavalry, I believe, 4 units of them. Medium shot cavalry should be able to provide a decent charge. And over here, way on the steps, also hidden in this small stand of trees, I have 4 units of the Bedouin camel riders. Good mix of them as well. And then over here, over top of this massive outcrop here, I've got 4 units of the Khwarezmian Lancers. So very light shot cavalry, but they've got excellent speed, so I chose to bring a couple of them to be able to get those charges in very quickly and then pull right back out. And finally, over here, I've got 6 units of the Khwarezmian Cavalry, the Horse Archers. So they will be able to pick off some of the Crusaders as they break and flee for their lives and just bring them down. And that rounds out my force, so let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. The next attacking army on the battlefield today is also the Ayyubid Sultanate, commanded by Hamdog CDXX, and he commands the Sultan's army. So this is the Sultan's army that was in the area and is brought in reinforcements. However, a lot more infantry focused. He does have some good cavalry, but a lot of infantry as well, which will hopefully help out if the melee goes on for some time. Now, let's take a look at what he has brought to the battlefield. He's got 3 units, I believe, of Ayyubid crossbowmen here. He's also got some of the Mamluk Tabaderia hidden behind my Horse Archers. Very solid shock infantry there. While the rest of his forces are over here hidden in the trees, we have 4 units. If you can even see them, they're very hard to see, of the Sudanese archers. And then behind that, he has a few units of the Tawashi cavalry to get that good solid charge before his infantry moves in. And we've got 6 units of the Almushat Athakila, I hope is how you pronounce it. And then they're also followed up closely behind with some of the Thakla axemen. Here is the Sultan himself on the battlefield. There he is, looking very, very regal. Also commanding an excellent point of the battlefield from the opposite side, and I'm sure he can send scouts to the Mamluk captain on the far side of the battlefield and let him know of his orders. But we also have some other units kind of scattered in and around the battlefield. Over here we've got a few units of Jarida cavalry. And way up on this hilltop, we actually have a fortified position to stop the Crusaders, the marching column, in its tracks. We've actually got 2 units of catapults here, and we have 2 units of ballista. So they could definitely do a lot of damage to the thick marching columns of the Crusaders, so hopefully the Crusaders will be able to neutralize them quickly. While they aren't undefended, we do have some of the June spearmen, and we also have some of the June swordsmen defending this little hilltop. But that rounds out the Ayyubid forces, so let's go ahead and take a look at the defenders. The first defending army on the battlefield today is the Principality of Antioch, commanded by Nubnath. And just look at this marching column, guys. Look how impressive this crusading marching column is. It goes all the way through this map here and extends all the way up that hill. Very, very impressive amount of men that the Prince of Antioch was able to summon in such a short time. But let's go ahead and see what exactly he was able to bring to the battlefield, starting in the front here. We've got some Templar Sergeant Spearmen here. We've got the Crusader Marksmen. We've also got some Templar Knights up at the front, probably acting as scouts, with more Templar Sergeant Spearmen in reserve. We've also got the Crusader Marksmen here, as well as some Hospitaller Knights towards the center. We've got some Hospitaller Sergeants here, as well as more Crusader Marksmen. And then we get into kind of the meat of the Antioch army. We've got about 6 units of the dismounted Antiochene Knights. We've also got some Antiochene Knights on horseback, and here is the Prince of Antioch himself, surrounded by his best warriors and headed back to his beloved city. Right behind that, we've got more of the Hospitaller units, Hospitaller Crossbow Sergeants, more Hospitaller Spearmen, and then we have some dismounted Crusader Knights, I believe 5 units of them. Yes. And then we have some Templar Crossbow Sergeants here at the back of the line, with Crusader Sergeants on the wings, and then we have some heavy Armenian auxiliaries here, and some Georgian swordsmen. So it looks like some of the mercenaries bringing up the rear, along with another unit of Crusader Knights for Antioch. Such an impressive force here, and an impressive display of power. Let's go ahead and take a look at his ally. The final defending army on the battlefield today, and also bringing up the rear of this very impressive marching column, is the Kingdom of Cilicia, commanded by Tattoos and Welding. And apologies in advance, I may struggle in pronouncing most of these names. It looks like they have been changed from the English versions over to a more historical version, and just apologies in advance if I get any of them incorrect. But we have this really nice kind of half diamond formation here around the king, King Levin V. Of course, he has answered the call of his ally, the Prince of Antioch, and he has brought his full host to bear and is moving forwards to defend Antioch against the infidel. So he is in the front along with a lot of his knights and cavalry here. He's got 4 units of the Zia Warner, I hope is how you pronounce it, all in the front. And then we've got some of these really cool axes here. We've got a couple units of the Bardshraharker, and then we also have some of the more elite versions, the dismounted Zia Warners. So these are the knights, so they're actually really cool looking shock infantry here. We also have some Italian mercenaries for crossbows, and then we have some of the archer Serzanter, or Zerzanter. And we've also got more of the Italian mercenaries on this flank. And then he has a lot of spears. I believe he has 8 units of the Bordes Militia, or the Bordet Militia. More archers following the marching column here. We've got some of the Levy archers here, and then some Bordes archers. Or Borje? Not exactly sure. And we have more of the Spear Zerhanter. Now, this is a more elite spear, I believe, from the other ones, but he has 8 units of them. And then on the sides, defending the spears, we have 4 units of the dismounted Zia Warner on the flanks here. Very, very nice marching column, as you can see if we look at the entire formation here. Very, very cool. And then, of course, the king in the front. And that pretty much rounds out the army comps, guys, so let's go ahead and get to this battle. Alright guys, welcome to the battlefield, and as you can see, we have this massive column formation here as the Crusaders move south to Antioch. You can see that the Prince of Antioch has done a pretty good job gathering every available man and sending them south to his fair city. We have about 12,000 Crusaders in this marching column headed south. We have about 7,000 or 6,500 for the Antioch forces, and then we have another 6,000 or so for the Kingdom of Cilicia. You can see the column is just coming down this valley here, but we have some stands of trees here where the Ayyubids have decided to form up, and the Cilicians are unfortunately unaware, and you can see that the the Antioch army has left a little bit of a gap here, and Cilicia is falling a little bit behind, waiting for some of their forces to catch up in the back, and this is going to be the perfect time to launch this ambush. And it is going to be the Mamluk captain who is in charge of first moving forwards with this ambush, as he has the cavalry advantage. He will slam into the side of the Cilician force, and then as they are moving to try and engage him, we will have the Sultan's force come in from behind and hopefully annihilate that army. So we need to make sure that Antioch's forces are far enough away, and it looks like we are going to activate this now, guys. Here we go. You can see all of them moving out of the trees and charging down the valley towards the Cilicians, who are completely unaware. They're even still in a marching column, forced march, and just looking straight ahead. But here they do. They finally stop. You can see we've got some collisions there at the back, but this is going to be a pretty disgusting charge here. The spears just turning to face the enemy before getting absolutely slaughtered. The archers getting a similar charge as well. Very disgusting here. You can see that the battle is very much underway. We've got more spears committing to this flank, but you can see we've got more cavalry forming up on the other side, and here comes the Sultan's forces as well from the other side to deal a deadly blow to the flank of the Cilician force. Let's zoom out and actually put this on slow motion so you can see exactly what is happening here. So we do have the horse archers cutting off any chance of retreat that the Cilicians may have. You can see we've hit really hard onto the rear and the right flank. A little softer on the left flank, but you can see that the Antioch forces are just picking up pace and leaving the King of Cilicia and his army behind. Luckily, the King of Cilicia and some of his elite cavalry were able to disengage from that fight, but all of the Antioch forces are just pressing forwards to their a more advantageous position where they can actually form up from, because they are extremely vulnerable in this position. You can see now that the trap has been set here from the Sultan. He's activated his bolt throwers and are getting some good shots into the Crusader marksmen, but this is where we need to be focusing, guys. We need to be focusing on this absolute mayhem of a battle. Look at this column here. And yes, it is a little bit framey. We've got about 22,000 men on the battlefield at this point. And look at some of the archers, even in the center, are just, like, struck in fear. They are paralyzed in fear. They do not know which way to turn. You can see we have Ayyubid cavalry to the right. We have Ayyubid cavalry to the left. Even some of my cavalry is disengaging to come in for another charge. So this is absolute mayhem for the Kingdom of Cilicia. Let's go ahead and put it on play. Actually, we can see here really quickly, already 2,000 men lost in this attack. So the Ayyubids have definitely triggered a successful ambush here. Just running down the line here, you can see that the spears are kind of forming up, but the archers are definitely in melee, which is not what you want to see. And here we go, the Sultan is moving forward some of his units. They are going to charge in as well to support the cavalry, and there is no help from the Prince of Antioch. He has left the Cilician Armenians to their fate. Let's zoom out and take a look at what else is going on here. So yes, it looks like the king, he quickly tried to rally some of the Antioch units to help him, but they did not return. So now the king has the tough choice of, does he abandon his men, or does he come back and try and turn this around? And the brave King of Cilicia has decided that he is going to push back with his elite cavalry and try and go after some of the Ayyubid archers. But we do have, I believe this is the Sultan's bodyguard? No, it's some Khwarezmian horse archers. So the king is going to be moving in to try and drive them away. We've also got the elite Sicilian cavalry charging in to the Sudanese archers here. Very, very good job on them to catch them unawares. We do have some counter-charging from the Tawashi cavalry from the Ayyubid Sultanate, but now we have broken through and are charging into the backs of some of the remaining Cilician units. Let's take a look at what else is happening over on this flank. Now that they've formed up, they're doing quite well, but again, a lot of units kind of paralyzed in fear here. Thankfully, they were able to form up on both ends, though, to kind of defend, but the damage to the rear of this I'm not sure if it's the vanguard or just the rear of this marching column in general. It's just been so devastating, and you can see now that we have some of the Ayyubid units, the infantry, in engaging the Cilician Armenians in melee. We've got some more of the spears coming in to reinforce them, but that has opened up their backs to some more charges from the enemy cavalry. You can see that I've disengaged some of my cavalry. Now, I think there was one unit over here that was holding out to the last man. I was so impressed with this unit, even though they got charged by one of my units of Tawashi cavalry. And then I charged in with some of my Scari nobles too to surround it, and it just would not break. So definitely the MVPs of the army here for the Kingdom of Cilicia. Let's go ahead and put it back onto play. We've got some of the crossbowmen set up over here as well. You can see that the formation here with the ballistas and the catapults has been engaged by Antioch, trying to drive them away and allow most of their infantry to make it into a more advantageous position to defend from. You can see they're quickly trying to get off this hilltop where they're not stretched for miles in this column formation, but that they'll actually be able to put up a form of defense by forming a battle line. And it is going to get pretty framey over here, guys, so that's why it will use a lot of slow motion just to make it a little bit more enjoyable for you. But there's literally going to be about 6,500 dead bodies on this one stretch of land. Oh, look at this guy here. He's actually surrounded by a lot of Cilicians. Wonder if the archers will be able to actually take him down. We can kind of relax a little bit now just because the actual ambush has been sprung, so now we can enjoy some of the more intricate fighting. No, it looks like he is able to kind of rejoin his rank. You can see that there's some others that are pushing through as well, but just look at this utter chaos here. Definitely a sweet screenshot here for sure. And I think, yes, now the Bedouin camel riders are here as well, but I didn't want to throw them in right away. I didn't want to push them in needlessly. We've definitely got the upper hand here. You can see I'm also saving a lot of my horse archer ammunition as well, because I'm mostly obstructed. I'm not really going to get some good angles on these guys, so I decided to just let my shock cavalry do most of the work. And here we go again, more of the cavalry here, the Tawashi cavalry getting some good charges into the backs of the spearmen and starting to break them. And it is just utter chaos here. How is the king doing over here? He is actually fighting the Sultan. What a brave king. Let me take a look at this here. He hasn't broken yet. Where is the king? And where is the Sultan, I might add? Oh, I'm not sure. The King of Cilicia was not... He wasn't a very obvious one, so it's kind of hard to tell, but the overwhelming numbers of Ayyubid cavalry here means that the king will probably be slain in this battle. Yeah, you can see a lot of the king's bodyguard laying dead on the battlefield, and as they try to retreat, we've got some of the Mamluk Tabaderia being activated as well from the forest. And I'm not sure if he is going to escape, but unfortunately he is going to leave his men to a certain fate. Very certain fate. Yeah, he is still alive, I believe. 14 men left in the unit, but he is being pursued by the Sultan's bodyguard and 2 units of Tawashi. Let's go ahead and take a look at the last-ditch defense here, and nope, they've just completely shattered. So the Khwarezmian light cavalry was able to do a decent amount of damage to the back of the Sicilian formation, or the Cilician formation. And now that last defense has broken, and look at this long line of spears trying to retreat from the battlefield. That is actually pretty epic indeed. And if we kind of just zoom in here, yeah, there we go. Some good charges there into them, making sure that none of them escape. Really working hard to completely annihilate this army. And just look over here. Oh yeah, so there we go. The camel riders did move in, and there we go. We have a complete shatter from the Cilician forces, and with that we have the death of King Levin V as well. So the Cilicians have been completely wiped out, and that changes the course of the 3-part series, because that means that the city of Antioch will receive no reinforcements from the Kingdom of Cilicia. So definitely a good play by the Sultan to eliminate one of their allies. That means that Antioch will be weaker for the final defense at Antioch. How are we doing over here, though? We can come and take a look at what's going on over here. Take a look at some of the Hospitaller Knights, I believe. Templar Knights, actually, charging into some of the... what are these? I can't see the June Swordsmen, I believe, but there we go. They have finally routed. Yeah, a lot of Templar Knights over here as well. And how we looking here? We've got some of the June Spearmen surrounded. We've also got some more June Spearmen here fighting the Templar Sergeants. Let's see if we can get a good zoom in here without slowing it down. Not too bad. It's not super slideshowy. But did the artillery get wiped out? I hear some artillery still being fired. Yes, so the catapult is still active. But if you take a look, we'll put this in slow motion here, and you can see that the catapult crew is just about to be charged by the very feared and renowned Templar Knights. We do have some of the June Spearmen defending them, but the catapult crew breaks almost instantly. I'm sure that this would be a terrifying sight to behold, seeing the Templar Knights and the Crusader Knights cresting that hilltop and then charging down into your ranks. Love the Templar Knights, very cool. Although I'm more partial to the Hospitaller Knights. I like the Templar Knights better historically, but the Hospitaller Knights, I'd have to say, way cooler uniforms. Love the black and the red. But there we have it. So let's go ahead and zoom out. We're going to make a quick cut here because we've actually got a second part to this battle. But you can see that we've got a massive host of warriors here that have been successful on the hilltop of breaking the Cilicians on that valley floor. But the army of Antioch has actually made it into a pretty advantageous position to defend from. So we're going to make a cut and let them form up here. Well, we're not really going to let them form up, but not too much else is going on in this area of the battle. We've got a lot of time where our units are kind of marching forwards and getting set up to challenge the Prince of Antioch himself. But thankfully, he did manage to get out, I'd say, about 80% of his force. About 20% is being tied up fighting this force here. And we do have some of the Khwarezmian cavalry coming to eliminate the Hospitaller Knights that have returned from routing, which is definitely unfortunate. But let's go ahead and make a little cut here, guys, and we will pick it back up once we have the defense of Antioch. Alright guys, welcome back to the battlefield, and Antioch has formed up in a pretty defensive position, so I guess it is a silver lining that the Cilicians were able to tie up the entirety of the Ayyubid Sultanate forces, because it did allow the Prince of Antioch and his men to get a very advantageous position up on this rocky outcrop. You can see the last of the units are just making it into that formation, and they are fortified and ready for battle. We've got some last-minute orders being shouted as well, the cavalry deciding which side they want to go onto, and the archers cresting this rocky hilltop here. Now, the hilltop is impassable on the rocky side. You can have a unit come this way, right around it, but it is fortified by some of these spearmen, and then of course you can assault it on this very wide 90-degree angle, but a lot of it is very defensible, so the Prince of Antioch choosing a very excellent position to form up a defense. However, we have a massive host of warriors still left on the battlefield, and not to mention that the Mamluk captain and his army are very much alive and well. You can see I have thousands of cavalrymen at my disposal to lend a hand as well. However, now that they're fortified with their flanks secure, it's going to be very difficult for the cavalry to be of any use. So that's why the Sultan has ordered that his infantry is going to move forwards and try and break the Antioch defense first. And if he can get a few holes in their lines, then he can have the Mamluk captain and his army move forwards and punch through those choke points and eliminate them altogether. But just look at all of this cavalry here. I love the fog too, very epic indeed, as the cavalry all moves forwards to a better position. But let's go ahead and quickly run up here at the risk of the frames dropping as well, just to show you guys the absolute slaughter on the battlefield. Look at all of the men of the Kingdom of Cilicia lying dead on the battlefield. There are a few Ayyubid horses there as well, especially at the back. That was mostly my lightly armored Khwarezmian Lancers, but just absolute slaughter on this hilltop. Take a look at this aerial view. thousands of dead Crusaders on the battlefield, but there are about to be thousands more as well. I think we're just in time to see some of the units moving forwards and engaging the Crusaders in melee. It looks like we do have some of the cavalry here as well, so it looks like the Sultan has sent a bit of Tawashi cavalry up to get a good solid front charge into the Georgian swordsmen. So it looks like the mercenaries are up in the front lines. You can see the heavy Armenian auxiliaries and the Georgian swordsmen there as well. But here comes the charge of a wave of Bakla axemen and Mamluk Tabaderia charging in to the spear wall. Over here as well, I believe in the trees, we've got some pressure here as well. The Tawashi cavalry getting a good charge there and then being followed up very closely behind by some of the Bakla axemen. Archers also forming up to get a good skirmish position as well. And we've also got the horse archers over here too, and we've got an excellent charge from Tawashi cavalry on this flank here, hitting the dismounted Crusader knights when they weren't in shield wall. I believe that was the extra cavalry that was left in reserve over here, kind of waiting to make sure that none of the Crusaders from Antioch tried to flee the battlefield. But here we go, I'm starting to form up my forces here. I've got a few units of cavalry over on this flank to try and break that, and the remaining are just waiting for the Sultan's call. I've got a lot of Tawashi cavalry left, a lot of the Ayyubid Askari nobles, and all of my Khwarezmian cavalry as well. Let's go ahead and check out this battle here. This is another cinematic battle, kind of a 2-for-1 here. Or as we Canadians say, a twofer. But we've got some shadows freaking out here, so I'm going to try and look at it from this flank, or this side. I love the formations, too, that Noob Nath has set up here. He's got the 3-line formations, and then if we zoom into the actual fight itself, you can see that I believe the Georgian swordsmen are still engaged in melee against the Mamluk Tabaderia, but they are definitely outclassed here. The Mamluk Tabaderia and the Bakla axemen much better in melee than the Georgian swordsmen, and there is a couple of them losing their heads, unfortunately. I believe we also have the Ayyubid swordsmen in as well to lend support to the Mamluk Tabaderia. And moreover, on this flank, we've got the Bakla axemen here in the trees, fighting very strongly. And look at this, we've got some more cavalry, we've got some more horse archers moving to the flanks here to put some pressure on the flank of the Antioch, or the Prince of Antioch, I should say. Very, very cool indeed. Look at the line here with the Hospitaller Sergeants forming up another defensive formation. Very, very cool battle. And this is probably one of the most diverse land maps that I've ever found. You've got the massive mountain here, you've got the valley here, perfect for ambush battles, then you've got this rocky formation here. Very, very cool. So it looks like the Sultan, the Ayyubid Sultan, picked a perfect point to attack them, but then the Prince of Antioch took excellent, he took an excellent position to defend from as well. And you can see, yeah, we've got the archers up here and the crossbows firing up and over, and I'm trying to push my units into this flank here, but you can see that the Crusaders are holding strong against my Bedouin camel raiders. Let's actually watch them fighting these spearmen in melee. Probably not the best idea to push camels in, but I thought that they would have a pretty solid charge. And of course, we are supported by some of the axes on this flank as well. But they've got reserves, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's take a look at what's going on over here as well. This is where the best fighting is happening, right here. Crusader versus Muslim. The Prince of Antioch, he cannot hope for any reinforcements as well. This is do or die here. Some good volleys, though, from the Crusaders onto the lightly armored Ayyubid crossbowmen there. Getting some good kills. How are we looking on the flank? I kind of want to see what's happening on the flank. So it looks like they're just kind of skirmishing them with some of the Khwarezmian cavalry. And oh no, we still have those 4 units of Jarida cavalry held in reserve. So I guess Hamdok did not commit those just yet. But they are skirmishing down some of the dismounted Endiashi knights. It would be best if they were in shield wall. But how are we looking over here? Yeah, I did not notice this. This was a huge mistake. putting a lot of my Bedouin camel raiders that were in reserve in range of those archers. They've got a perfect firing up and over top, and then they broke immediately across the red line. So I'm pushing this other unit of Bedouin camel raiders right into melee. I know we're kind of bunching it up here, but you can see we're kind of pushing up the slope a little bit and actually engaging some of the Templar Sergeant Spearmen in melee as well that were tasked with holding this corner. So that's what we're trying to do, is inch our way up, and then maybe we can actually drive the archers off this slope. But I don't know if the Sultan is very happy with the progress so far. 16 minutes left in the battle, and it doesn't look like the Antioch line is breaking anytime soon. I believe that most of the Armenian heavy auxiliaries and the Georgian swordsmen have been cut down at this point, and now these spears are the ones that are holding in melee. But not too much in the way of reserves for Antioch. They're looking a little bit thin. Once these 3 battle lines break, that is pretty much all that they have left. And the host of cavalry just awaits the command of the Sultan. We've got a decent amount of ammunition still left on Hamdog's archers, but unfortunately the Ayyubid crossbowmen are not doing well against the Templar crossbow sergeants. They seem to have a better position, and the Sudanese archers also being wrecked by the Crusader marksmen of Antioch. And over here the Crusader sergeants are holding. You can see we're pushing some of our Mamluk Tabateria up the slope, though, as I was saying, trying to push them off this hilltop and gain a better foothold. But pulling them through here, you can see they have started to lose quite a few men. And that is not good. You don't want to lose those elite units so quickly. Let's put it back onto slow motion here and take a look at what's going on in the tree line. There we go. Looks like we are finally getting those Crusaders into a shield wall. That means that those Khwarezmian archers are going to do little to no damage to these Crusaders, which is good. You don't want to be losing lives needlessly. Antioch needs every single man that it can get. I love this line, though, with the Hospitaller sergeants right in the third line. We've got 2 units of Crusader sergeants in the front lines, and it looks like, actually, we're going to have a nice, a nice charge here from the Crusaders into the backs of their own men. Unfortunately, they activated their charge a little bit too early there. I think they're trying to drive the Khwarezmian horse archers away here. If we look from their point of view, I'm not sure if they're going to continue focusing them down or if they're going to try and pull out of there. But it'll be interesting to see if Nubnath can actually get a charge off on these Lancers. Because if he breaks these Khwarezmian horse archers, I doubt that they will return if they take a good enough charge. Yeah, here we go. Breaking from the cover of the forest and slamming hard into the Khwarezmian horse archers. Very nicely done there. So is that going to break them, I wonder? Oh yeah, their morale is looking pretty horrific there. But we do have a depleted unit of Tawashi cavalry coming in to try and assist. Let's put it back on to regular speed and take a look at how this battle is going. You can see I've lined up some more of my units here ready to push in, but unfortunately, again, doing the exact same problem that I made a mistake with before. Now these archers will be able to focus this cavalry. You can see it's taking a bit of fire already, which is not what I wanted to see. And now we're starting to see some wavering along the Crusaders' lines, but we're also seeing some wavering on the Muslim lines as well. Some Thakla axemen breaking here. We've also got some more Mamluk Tabateria here with the swordsmen, the Almoshat Al-Thaqila, or Kia. They have both, their morale is not looking too good at this point. Getting rained upon by the bows, the Crusader marksmen. But if you were a Crusader here, this is what you have to look forward to. So you're going to be sitting right here, and you're going to be looking up that slope, and you're going to know that maybe you can defeat the infantry of the Sultan, but are you going to be able to defeat the cavalry of the Sultan that are just waiting on that hilltop? And that is the question. I mean, they've got a pretty solid spear line here, and if they do push their swords in as well, they may have a hope. it looks like the Sultan is moving over to the forested area too, so I wonder if something else is going on over there that they're having trouble containing. Oh yes, we have another unit of Antioch Knights over here pushing back the horse archers, and yes, the Sultan has actually pulled away from this. He does not want to challenge the Antioch Knights in melee, but it is too late. They actually get a decent charge onto him, but I think he is going to be able to pull out with no casualties. Yeah, we do have the horse archers coming in to help as well, but this is going to be absolute disaster, guys. Look at this. He's actually got this unit in behind enemy lines, driving away the Sultan and then pushing in for a disgusting charge onto the entire line of Ayyubid swords that are fighting in the front lines. So that is really not good if you are rooting for the Sultan in this battle. I believe the Sultan is coming back in. Yes, he is. So he's quickly trying to get a handle on this situation, but I just want to keep the UI on for a minute to show that 3 units have already broken to this, and we've only got 3 units left on the front lines at this point. So those Antioch Knights up to 89 kills, which is pretty solid indeed, but fracturing this entire flank and also putting the Sultan at danger, or in danger. He's very, very close to enemy lines. He could be getting some fire from the Crusader marksman any minute. Up to 104 kills. Well done with that cavalry. But now we've got 4 units of Tawashi cavalry, or sorry, Jarita cavalry over here that are going to be moving in to possibly charge the lines. Looks like they may be charging the lines, so let's get a good shot of this without the tree in our face. Oh, come on, they're formed up. Yes, here they go. Let's take a look at this. And huge charges into these swords. Actually, thankfully, they were in a shield wall, and that charge was pretty much nerfed. That wasn't a good charge at all. I thought it would have been much more solid, but the Jarita cavalry being stopped in their tracks here. And we do have some of the Khwarezmian horse archers challenging the corner, but they are being overwhelmed by the Crusader Knights. And finally, I believe that cavalry did break, but they managed to break another unit in the front line. And now it's down to basically 1 unit of swords and 1 unit of Mamluk Tabaderia. It's the only infantry on the front lines that is still fighting. And over here you can see we are not doing very well at all. I'm trying with all that I can to push through these Templar Sergeant Spearmen, but they are just so solid. And remember, I don't have any infantry, so I've got to utilize my cavalry to the best of my abilities. Most of the infantry was in the Sultan's force, but the Mamluk army just brought cavalry. So Antioch has a very good chance of winning this battle. You can see we are down to 3,400 men, and the enemy are down to 4,000 men. So the enemy still actually outnumbers us, but of 12,000 men, just shy of 12,000 men, they only have 4,000 remaining. However, with us, 7,800 down to 3,300. So the ambush was a huge success, but Antioch is making us pay for every life that we took. And it looks like now we're going to have a little bit of respite. I believe Antioch is going to be able to reform their lines, which is excellent to see. And the Jarita cavalry have disengaged from this flank. And I believe the Sultan is now going to call on his cavalry to do a charge. So let's zoom down and take a look at that. Actually, we could sit right up on this hilltop here and watch the cavalry come down. So this is definitely the calm before the storm, guys. Let's actually look at it from maybe their point of view. And now we've got some volleys coming in here from the Crusader marksmen, but the cavalry has definitely been activated. They are now charging headlong into the Antiochian lines. Let's actually look right down their battle line here as the units move forwards and hit the shield wall of Antioch. There we go. Huge hits by the Ayyubid cavalry. Well done there. Hitting the entire line with a massive, massive charge. Sorry that it's getting framey here, too. We're really creating a lot of kills, or a lot of dead bodies in this one area. But yes, I believe that did shatter some of the spearmen right off the bat, which is good. We're going to disengage our cavalry now, because you can see the second line is ready to go. And let's actually get into one of these cavalry units if we can. Zip down and take a look at them. So there we go. I believe those are the Askari nobles that have disengaged from the battle line, and we're going to try and get through them here. I made a little bit of a mistake by... Yeah, there we go. I did stop them because I realized that my battle line was kind of being broken apart by the cavalry that was pulling back. So I decided to wait just a little bit and make sure they were in a perfect position to strike. And here we go again. Lances down. Destroy these Crusaders. This is so cinematic. I know this is my own battle too, but I'm just right along with you guys, enjoying every minute of it. Oh, and looks like we got a couple of floating units there. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Come on, charge, charge, charge. And... oh, good charge there. And now my unit coming through here. The tree's kind of blocking it just a little bit, but you can still see the impact that was caused by that charge. And all the way down the battle line, you can see the marksmen actually retreating back up the hilltop. Very, very cool. Let's jump out of that and also put it back onto play. We've got 9 minutes left in the battle, so this is definitely a battle of attrition. Can the forces of Antioch withstand countless charges, or will my cavalry deplete from pulling them out of melee and charging them back in over and over again? It's actually, I don't want to miss this charge again, especially at full speed. Let's get rid of the UI and watch once again. Big charge there into the spearmen. This is the third charge that they've had to withstand. And it looks like some of the cavalry, yeah, was kind of blocked by the retreating cavalry there. So I should have maybe waited a little bit longer. And I believe that I do have my horse archers as well. Yeah, so my horse archers are going to come over here and try and put some pressure on this flank, because this is where the best units are for Antioch on this flank, the dismounted Crusader Knights. They are holding very strongly here. You can see that Hamdog's Jarita cavalry has all wavered. But pulling back once again with my shock cavalry, we will go in for another charge. Over here, though, haven't really been focusing, but 4 of my units have been wiped out. The Almoshat Athakali, or Athakila, have broken. Now we're pushing in basically just my remaining units. The Sultan's infantry has moved to focus this flank once again. And let's get another awesome charge here. Cavalry moving in again. Nice, nice charges. And extremely quiet with no music and the sound of birds chirping. I think there is an issue with some of the 12-12 music with it cutting in and out like that. Oh yeah, we need some battle sounds here. This isn't a quiet stroll in the park, this is war. Ground shaking from the amount of cavalry that just charged in on this flank. Archers pulling back once again. It looks like we do have the third line slowly getting ready to engage. The dismounted Antioch Knights, though, are absolute tanks on the battlefield, holding strong in the face of these cycle charges. And I think that I will be moving them up and getting another charge in. Here we go. Hold, Crusaders, hold. Let's actually see from maybe a few ranks back what it looks like. There we go, stopping to get a perfect charge and then moving everyone into battle. Oh man, even from like the third line, knowing that you aren't the one who's going to take the brunt of that charge, that still is pretty terrifying. Come on, men, break through, hold. There we go, some more Antioch warriors breaking from the battlefield in the front lines. Got some more of the spears breaking as well. And we've got the Khwarezmian horse archers over here, starting to skirmish down Antioch. And he doesn't have much cavalry to deal with this, unfortunately. I have 6 units of horse archers, so he isn't really going to be able to counter all of them. And I'm going to be able to just fire volley after volley into their ranks. Alright, boys, slow down on the cheering. The battle isn't won yet. There we go, just seeing another charge there. Very huge hits. Oh, and look at this, guys. Look at this. We've got some of the units breaking through in the center, actually getting into the Crusader marksmen. And this is the opening that I was waiting for. You can see we've got a counter charge from some of the Crusader Knights. But now we've got a hole where we can open, or we can push through with. So I'm going to pull back one more time. In hindsight, that actually might be a mistake. Maybe I should have waited and pushed my second line in. Because now I'm giving them a bit more time to reinforce their position, and that Tawashi cavalry that works so hard to open that choke point is now, we're now going to lose it, which is unfortunate. But a lot of the Antioch Knights there were taken down, which is good to see. And I believe that the Sultan's forces are heavily depleted. You can see that this is all that remains of the Sultan's forces. But, I mean, they're all technically the Sultan's forces. Let's take another look at this charge here, getting really laggy with the mountain of bodies that's been piled up here on this slope. Oh, and these spears not in a position to hold, and they're going to get a huge side charge. You can see the whole line of Antioch warriors almost like push back like a rubber band under stress as that wave of cavalry pushes in, and I believe this is where I'm just going to commit everything I have. We've got more units of cavalry pushing in as well. I'm going to focus really hard on this flank too, so that I can break the right flank and get into these marksmen, although I think that they have used up most of their ammunition now. Yeah, Crusader marksmen here. I mean, actually, some of them still have a decent amount of ammunition, but they're we've got the Sultan over here trying to push his way through this back choke point. These Templar Sergeant Spearmen holding with everything they have. Come on, hold. 4 minutes left in the battle. Can Antioch do this? And what's this? The Prince of Antioch is on the move. The horse archers have engaged in melee. And is he going to be able to break through and escape the battlefield? He's pushing through, pushing through. The horse archers are pushing to try and block him. Yes, he's trying to escape. So he is leaving his men to their fate. I've got the Mamluk bodyguard over here. Casa, I hope is how you pronounce it. And look at this, all of the horse archers wavering here. This provides the opportune moment for the Prince of Antioch to actually escape the battlefield. And that is crazy. So he is not going to be able to win this battle, but he is going to get back to his fair city and mount a defense. He is not going to be slain on this battlefield and leave his city undefended. I believe this is him at the front. Yes, it is. So him with his retinue are abandoning his men and fleeing the battlefield. Wow. Wow. Well, surely the morale of these men are going to start to waver now with their general gone, their king gone. Yeah, there's a lot of wavering here in the center. Looks like the swords are looking pretty thin. And we've got the Sultan who has broken through on his side. Now he is going to get into those marksmen and give them justice for all of the Mamluks and all of the Muslims that they killed with their bows. Serve them a little bit of justice soup. We've got more Muslims actually cresting the hilltop here as well. You can see the remainders of the Sultan's forces, and actually way up on the hilltop there too, we've got the Ayyubid crossbowmen. But looks like the Crusader marksmen realize that they are surrounded. There's no place to go for any of the soldiers of Antioch, and they will be slaughtered on the battlefield. But unfortunately for the Sultan, he was not able to kill the Prince of Antioch. That would have been a huge, huge thing for him to do. That would have almost that would have assuredly handed the city of Antioch into his hands, but he failed to clamp down quick enough on the Prince of Antioch, and he has escaped. And now we have, looks like the Sultan's bodyguard charging into the backs of these Crusader sergeants. We've also got some of the volleys of the Ayyubid crossbowmen hitting the backs of these Crusader sergeants here. Look at the cavalry there behind enemy lines, just slaughtering the retreating units. Oh my goodness, no mercy. We've got some of the, I'm not sure if these are Mamluk Tabaderia or the Thakal Axemen. I think they're Mamluk Tabaderia. They look to be pretty heavily armored, but man, most of these guys are being cut down. And look, these guys don't know which way to run. If they run forwards, they run into the cavalry of the Ayyubids. If they run backwards, they run into the Sultan and his infantry. A lot of horses without riders, though. We definitely paid for this with many lives. Let's zoom out and take stock of the entire battlefield here if we can, as things are wrapping up, I believe. Yeah, only 2 minutes left in the battlefield, and it looks like the Ayyubids are just going to scrape a victory here. Now, this isn't the full amount of the Sultan's forces. Obviously, he could field much more than 6,000 or 7,000 men. His forces are probably about 20 to 30,000, but 12,000 Christian soldiers bolstering the Antioch garrison would have made it impossible for the Sultan to take. They would have been able to last for months. And the cavalry isn't as effective at attacking strongholds. So this is a huge win for the Sultan to eliminate 12,000 warriors and ensure that, you know, 80 to 90% of them will not make it to Antioch. I mean, you can see that there are quite a few units that are still being able to retreat. So, oh, those are actually the Sultans. But I'm sure if we look carefully, yep, there we go. So a lot of Templar crossbowmen being able to escape. So maybe the Prince of Antioch will be able to rally his men and kind of pick together what is left of his army and then continue to move it towards Antioch. But I'm sure that the Sultan will be in a very quick pursuit. Let's actually just enjoy some of this fighting back here as the battle ends. And I hope you guys do enjoy these three-part series, because all three of these battles will tell a similar story, and these battles are all leading up to a climactic event. So make sure to tune in to Battle 2, which will be out tomorrow, and then Battle 3 will be out later in the week. And I believe that is the Sultan himself right there. You can see him just behind the tree there. He's wearing kind of the golden armor. Yes, there he is. And he is riding away from this battlefield victorious. Whoa, 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 sorry about that, guys. I think the unit that I saw broke, and then it disengaged me from the zoom in that I was doing there. Oh, and there we go, a Pyrrhic victory. So apologies, it was a little bit framey, but that was a massive battle, and probably one of my most favorite ambush battles ever. Let's take a look at the end results here. So you can see that I deployed only 3,000 men, 2,800. That's because all of my army consisted of cavalry, which is a smaller unit. Hamdok deploying 5,000, he had mostly infantry. So taking a look at my forces here, the Bedouin Camel Raiders didn't do very well. Khwarezmian Lancers, one of them actually getting almost 300 kills, and these are very cheap cavalry units. And then the Drida Cavalry doing pretty average. Ayyubid Askari Nobles, we have 362 here, 306, 280, 356, 343, 402 for the Tawashi Cavalry as well. So these are kind of the same unit card, but very high kills there. The Khwarezmian Cavalry, the Horse Archers, I probably could have got more kills with them, but I kind of threw them in. I probably shouldn't have done that in the long run. Might have saved a few lives. Looking at Hamdok, 400 kills with the Sultan himself, so he is not afraid to get into battle. He is a man of action. We've got some good kills on the Mamluk Tabaderia, good kills on the Thakla Axemen. The rest of the force is not much to speak of, except these swords here, 247, 204. And then 301 with the Sudanese archers. That is pretty solid. And his cavalry, most of the Tawashi getting over 200 kills. Very well indeed. Looking at Numnath, the Prince of Antioch getting 55 kills before retreating from the battlefield. Crusader sergeants here with 109 and 110. That is pretty good. We got 110 here from the Georgian swordsmen. Heavy Armenian auxiliaries 117. 215 from Antiochene knights. The archers, though, really cleaning up. We got 333, 245. We got 243 and 225 for the crossbowmen. And high kills on the Cav 2. The Templar Knights getting 344 kills. And then the Sacrificial Lamb, the Cilician army. 168 from King Levin V, and a brave, brave man trying to save his army from certain destruction. But look at the kills here. No time to form up. Most of them getting absolutely annihilated, except for this unit of Zia Warner that got 118 kills. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this ambush battle, guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. And as always, I will see you in the next one.